So WFA is the global organization bringing together brand owners from all around the world. So we have national associations, ANA in the US, CANA in China, peers and equivalents in Japan, Australia, Russia, Brazil, UK, France, Spain. So we have a network of associations in the 60 largest ad markets all around the world. And we have 110 of the largest brands in membership, Red Bull, Adidas, Nike, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble. We do two things for our members. On the one hand, we help champion their license to operate. So we interface with international organizations, with governments, on issues related to our license to operate. Issues such as data privacy, marketing freedoms, etc., which are increasingly center stage in many geographies. And on the other hand, we work with marketers, help them share best practice and benchmark against each other in order to be cutting down on trial and error and become more effective over time.
Great. So tell us about this big initiative around media and making media healthier or cleaner. Tell us sort of where that stands and where you hope it goes.
So we have an issue in the industry, and that's a safety issue. Not only a brand safety issue, it's a societal safety issue in online media and digital platforms in particular. We've seen over the last 2-3 years a number of incidents which have brought that to light, whether that's mainstream brands ending up on terror content, whether that's pedophile networks misusing certain platforms, whether that's Facebook Live being used by a mass murderer. And so increasingly, as an industry, we're facing issues which are related not only to brand safety, but which are related to safety of society in general. And companies feel that the responses so far by the industry, by platforms, have been insufficient. They've come together in Cannes 4 months ago in order to create a coalition called the Global Alliance for Responsible Media and agree on standards, processes and practices which are going to be making those environments safer. So it's a big endeavor. We're seeing a significant momentum, so it's very exciting to see the sort of the level of support we're getting from brand owners and from agencies and also from platforms. And so we're seeking to get better ultimately at the way we manage those risks and those threats in online environments.
So how do you get the platforms to cooperate?
I think, first of all, platforms understand that we have reached a point where it is in our collective interest as an industry to be teaming up in order to be finding more effective solutions. And a lot of those solutions will require cross-industry solutions. They will not be specific to platforms, they will not be specific to brand owners, they will require interoperability and they will require accountability across the industry. And I think platforms have recognized that, and we welcome very much that platforms have signed up to the initial manifesto which was released in Cannes. We're now working on fleshing out what we think those concrete outcomes should be. And I want to be very candid. A lot of those discussions are difficult discussions because they require adjustments and adaptations to existing models. We are still confident that platforms will be ultimately agreeing to those changes, but we're in the middle of it. And so I wouldn't want to make a prediction in terms of how long it's going to take, but what I sense is that there's a deep commitment by brand owners and their agencies to be driving change, significant and meaningful change, and that's what we're busy doing.
And finally, data and privacy is a big issue globally. Tell us a little bit about the impact of GDPR and some other things that are happening around the world.
Enormous. So I think GDPR has become a brand, but it's ultimately just one element of a much more fundamental change. We have reached a level of maturity in digital where actually people expect to be asked for consent when data is being collected. So ultimately it's not a threat in terms of regulator who's put in place a legislation which is having huge impact. It is that legislation is a reflection of the change of attitudes and aspirations of people. And as brand owners, we need to listen very carefully to what those people are telling us. People are telling us that they feel that a lot of that the data collection is happening without them sufficiently being in control, and they increasingly express that through a level of distrust which we're measuring in marketing. And so we as brand owners, and more importantly collectively as an industry, need to be adjusting ultimately to expectations of people which seek to be informed about what data has been collected and what it's used for. Increasingly, as brand owners, we think that the future is about value exchanges. So brand owners will have to be able to offer value against which people will be prepared to exchange or not their data. And not all brands are born equal. Some have more trust, some have built reputations over time, others not. Some have actually more meaningful, more relevant value to share. So there's going to be a healthy competition in the marketplace in terms of being able to offer value exchanges which encourage people to share data. But we think that is going to be a fundamental shift in terms of the way we will be engaging with people going forward. It may put the bar higher in terms of the type of data and the number of data you're going to be collecting, but we're absolutely confident that this will put actually ultimately the relationship on a much firmer and much healthier basis in order to be building ultimately our brands.